They say there's a study out that says that in the next 10, 15 years, 50% of women going into middle age, sort of 35 plus,
right,
beyond childbearing age, I would say, are going to be single. And they mainly attribute that down to women raising the standards of what they'd accept in men. Go.
50%.
50%.
That's quite a high number. Do you know what?
That's what I'm saying. I don't mind because I think humans are the scourge of the earth, and the quicker that we're all off this planet, the better. That's just me. I can't stand human beings personally.
Yeah,
they're my least favorite animal.
That doesn't. I mean, the number kind of surprised me that it's high, but it doesn't surprise me in terms of like the landscape of like the world that we live in today. Like I see so many people, like, you know how a lot of people talk about how marriages used to last such a long time, or even maybe we're coming to the end of the era where marriages have lasted 60 years, whatever, and their grandparents are together happily, blah blah blah. Whereas like I don't think that happens as much. This like divorce is a lot more common, and I think it all stems to having visibility of.
That's not true.
It's not true. What, divorce being a higher rate now than
divorce rates have been falling for the last 10 years.
It's been falling. Yeah, that's because people aren't getting married in the first place.
I agree.
So they're just breaking up.
I agree.
But okay, but my point is
just because people always say that. People go, 50% of marriages end in divorce. It's not true.
Okay, right. Anyway, okay, even if it's not divorces, I feel like relationships in general are not lasting as long, and I think it's just purely because we have so much visibility over other options in the world. In terms of, you might be dating someone who's perfectly good for you, but in terms of like, they make you laugh, they tick a lot of boxes that you have, they're good looking, but then you swipe around on Instagram or whatever and you see some guy or some girl that you find super attractive, and you're like, well, I want a piece of that. So now all of a sudden the person that you're with feels a bit more unappealing, so that when things start to go wrong, I feel like you're less inclined. You're like, why the fuck am I putting myself through this like heartache, torture, or whatever, or this pain of dealing with this argument or whatever, when I could just up and leave and find someone else? Especially, see, look, he fucking agrees with me.
I don't. Oh no, bro, tooting his horn, bro.
Yeah, like I just feel like, especially with women, I feel like they have so many options available to them. Especially
they don't.
You say that, but then if you just swipe on their fucking Tinder profiles or Hinge profiles, they'll have that
define options. They have options for dick, not necessarily options for dating or marriage.
Right, but they have, like, as you were saying earlier about statistics, having more people with, like, more, not skin in the game, but, like, if there's more men to go on dates with, arguably they're going to find someone to be in a decent relationship with.
No, not necessarily. The thing is, the thing is, like, you are getting roped into how women view the world, and women view the world wrong. Yeah. So, do you know what I'm saying?
You're gonna say that.
They do.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Like, that's just
explain.
That's just you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. But it's like, bro, the reality of the situation. First of all, that mentality that you're describing is very common in our society, but that's a bum's mentality. Like, do you know what I mean? Just because it's common doesn't mean that it's not a bum's mentality.
Yeah.
If you're with someone. I've only ever had 2 relationships in my life. There's only ever been 2 women in my life that I could spend more than 2 or 3 days with and not want to kill them. And even then, yeah. So, do you know what I mean? So if you meet someone, for me personally, that I can meet someone that post not even post beat, post 3rd round beat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's starting to sting.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm fully like juiced out, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Like. Fully after that, that I still want to sit down and have a conversation with you, that for me is very rare. There's mad titties in the world. There's fresh things turning 21 every day. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it from a sexual perspective, but not necessarily from a I want to sit down and have a conversation with you perspective. Do you know what I'm saying? We spoke earlier about having platonic female friends. I've only had a few really close platonic female friends. Shout out Natalie, she's one of my best friends. And she's been one of my best friends for years.
She's never told me about her.
She's a very attractive. We actually didn't talk for years, but I think I told you we went out Fernando's the other day, whatever. Yeah. She's very attractive. I think she's engaged. Greek, beautiful. I've never looked at her and thought I want to have sex with you. Do you know what I mean? And she's described me to her friends, been like, "Oh, my friend Nick, he's attractive, he's funny," but she's probably never looked at me and thought I want to have sex with that guy. Do you know what I mean? We're just friends. We can have a rational conversation. I chat to her like I chat to you lot. I don't change how I talk. I'll be chatting to her and see a gal walk past and be like, "Yo, what?" Do you know what I mean? Like, It's cool, but I get it from it. All the stuff that you were describing on Instagram, all the rest of it, that's not love. That's not a relationship. That's just sexual.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And you have to be able to separate the two. They're two totally different things. So this is where women think that they've got mad options, and they can go and get mad options, but they might break up with you, and then they're going to go and get endless dick. And as a man, you don't like that thought, and you want your dick to be king dick because we're men and that's how we are. But the reality is, most of these things are miserable. Most of these things are miserable, bruv.
Yeah, but
do you know the amount of girls I've spoken to that's got boyfriends?
No, probably a lot of them.
They're miserable.
Yeah,
50% of the things I smash got boyfriends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we live such different lives.
And they are miserable.
I hear the word boyfriend, I'm like, cool.
These girls, like, they don't want to date me. They don't want to marry me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? They want do you know what it is? So, I spoke to someone the other day, and I was saying, women and men's lives are totally different. Totally different. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Like, with women, I know loads of women that's been in abusive relationships and all types of different stuff. I'm not victim blaming and saying it's their fault, but a lot of women just gas each other and support each other endlessly.
Yeah.
Endlessly. Whereas men are on the complete
toxic positivity.
All the way positive.
Yeah, no matter, even if they don't believe it, they'll still say it. Yeah,
do you mean, like, if their friend's overweight, they will not tell them they're overweight.
Send fire
they
emojis,
won't send nothing.
You look beautiful. Yeah.
They're horrible people. They're the worst people in the world. Men are also terrible people because we're on the opposite side of the spectrum. So if you post something in the group like, yo, look at this girl I'm trying to DM, man will be like, you ain't never getting that gal, bro. You're a bum, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, man are just going to grill you to the nth degree. Do you know what I'm saying? But because of that, we have maybe an under-inflated ego, a lot of men. When you meet a lot of men with overinflated egos, either they are very successful, very handsome, or lying to themselves. But women have a massively overinflated sense of ego. So they think they're super entitled to this, super entitled to that.
I think we're overgeneralizing because I feel like...
Yeah, of course. I'm talking about just generally speaking.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But even if I've got cousins or whatever that chop and change boyfriends all the time, or I've got girls in my life that have been through from abusive guy to abusive guy to abusive guy, and the women that are their friends and family members will not say anything.
Why do you think it is then that 50% of women sort of post the age of 35, you said, will end up being single? Because from speaking to a lot of girls, they seem to get a lot of pressure from their families when they reach the age of sort of like 26, 27, 28.
Because they're coming to the end of childbearing.
Well, that's what I mean. So if they start being like, they've got that ticking clock, obviously, and their parents are kind of like, you're going to start to knuckle down. And I feel like, perhaps they're just getting into relationships for the sake of, I need to have a kid soon, rather than for the right reasons.
Correct.
So that could potentially be a reason for...
I think that's one of the reasons. Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons. I think that women also, because there isn't a balance, like I said, men are super, super negative, women are super, super positive in terms of their friendship groups, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So because there's no balance on either side, like, I can't remember where I was going at this point.
There's no balance either side.
Thanks.
Women super positive.
That's very helpful. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'm just trying to rejig your memory a little bit. You know what I mean?
No, that's what I was gonna say. There's a positive. Fuck you. I did it all on my own. There's a positive side to women increasing the standards of what they want to date. Right? People go super gassed on like, in the 20s and the 30s, there was so much abusive relationships, so much cheating, so much this, so much that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't be a victim, you could be a victim of rape in a marriage and it wouldn't be classed as rape in this country. That was legal. It was legal to rape your wife for many, many years. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, but it wasn't illegal. So we romanticize how relationships...
I'm joking.
That's dumb, That's dumb. That's not me. Man are going to look at me. That's dumb,
It's his influence on my life. I was never like this before.
Cool. You know what I mean? But like, so we romanticize these old relationships. God, it was all really sweet, and we don't know that it was that sweet. There was a lot of fucked up, bad stuff happening. We know, do you know what I mean? So up in the standards of what they will accept from a mental, emotional perspective, I understand that and I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
But then they also up their standards from like a materialistic perspective.
Yeah.
And that doesn't, the two things don't necessarily correlate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then also what happens when these women rush, if they get to 26, 27, 28, like you say, and they want kids or they want this or they've got pressure or whatever, they'll rush into a relationship and they'll rush into a relationship with the wrong person. And then, do you know what I'm saying? And then it's done out from there.